There are no survivors left. The last person who remembered that night with their own eyes closed them for the final time in 2009. She was 97 years old, and now the only thing left is the silence at the bottom of the North Atlantic. 2.5 miles down, cold, dark, still. The ship has been there for over 100 years, and in all that time, the ocean has told us nothing. But the people, the ones who lived, the ones who died, and the ones who were never supposed to be on board at all, they left something behind. This is not a story about a ship. This is a story about a night that broke something in the human spirit and built something new in its place. Context: the world before. It is April 1912. The world does not yet know what a world war looks like. It does not know trenches or mustard gas or the particular grief of a generation lost in mud. It is, by almost every measure, a world still drunk on its own confidence. The Industrial Revolution has delivered something that feels like a miracle. Steel bridges, electric light, steam engines crossing continents in days. Humanity has looked at nature and decided, quietly but firmly, that it has won, and nowhere is that confidence more visible than in Southampton, England, on the morning of April 10th. The RMS Titanic sits in the harbour like a monument to everything mankind believes about itself. She is 882 feet long, 11 stories tall, the largest moving object ever built. Her hull is black. Her funnels, 4 of them, rise into a pale grey sky. The smoke from her engines carries the smell of coal and iron and ambition.
Yes, my dear.
On the dock, families press together. Children grip their parents' sleeves. Third-class passengers from Ireland, from Croatia, from Lebanon and Syria and Sweden, people who have saved for years, who have said goodbye to everyone they know. They carry everything they own in a single bag and walk up the gangway into the dark belly of the ship. In first class, there are orchids in the dining rooms. There are Turkish baths and a swimming pool and a squash court. There are 10,000 bottles of wine in the hold. There are men worth hundreds of millions of dollars sitting down to meals with 12 courses and crystal glasses. The ship is not just a vessel, it is a statement. Somewhere near the stern, a young woman named Milvina Deed is carried aboard in a basket. She is 9 weeks old. She is the youngest passenger on the ship. She will also be the last to die, 97 years from now, in a nursing home in Hampshire, on a quiet Sunday morning in May. But she does not know any of that yet. No one does. Building tension. The days at sea. For the first 4 days, everything is exactly what it was promised to be. The sea is calm, unusually calm. Passengers write letters home. They play cards. They walk laps around the promenade deck and breathe the cold ocean air and feel the deep, low vibration of the engines beneath their feet. A pulse, almost, like something alive. In the wireless room, 2 operators named Jack Phillips and Harold Bride work nearly around the clock. Messages come in and go out. Passengers send telegrams to friends in New York. The rich announce their arrival times. The social pages of newspapers are already preparing their columns. And between those personal messages, something else arrives. Ice warnings, April 14th, Sunday. The morning is bright and cold. The sea looks almost painted. By afternoon, the temperature has dropped noticeably. By evening, it is close to freezing. The ship continues at full speed, 22 knots. The captain, Edward John Smith, has made this crossing many times. He has been at sea for 40 years. He is retiring after this voyage. In the crow's nest, 2 lookouts named Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee scan the water with bare eyes. There are no binoculars. The binoculars were somehow left behind in Southampton. An investigation later will ask, would binoculars have made a difference? The answer will remain, like so much about that night, uncertain. The ship does not slow down. At 11:39 p.m., the ocean is black and mirror flat. There is no moon. The stars are extraordinary, girl, clear and dense and cold, the kind of sky that makes you feel very small. The temperature of the water is 28 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree below the freezing point of salt water. Frederick Fleet sees something darker than the dark ahead. He reaches for the bell. He strikes it 3 times. He picks up the telephone. "Iceberg," he says, "right ahead." The words travel from his mouth to the bridge in under 4 seconds. The ship begins to turn. It does not turn fast enough. The critical turning point, 11:40 p.m. The iceberg does not shatter the Titanic. It grazes her. A scrape. A shudder that many passengers below decks describe later as feeling like the ship had run over gravel. Some people don't even wake up in first class. A man named Colonel Archibald Gracie hears the sound and rolls over in his sleep. In third class, a young Irish woman named Kate Connolly feels the tremor and assumes it is nothing. In the engine rooms, men stand at their posts and wait for an order that hasn't come yet. The iceberg passes along the starboard side and disappears into the dark behind the ship. For perhaps 90 seconds, there is silence. Then, deep below the waterline, in the forward cargo holds and boiler rooms, something begins to happen that no one on deck can see. The sea pushes in. Quietly, with enormous patience, it fills the first compartment, then the second, then the third, fourth, and fifth. The Titanic was designed to float with 4 compartments flooded. 5 have been compromised. The ship's architect, Thomas Andrews, is on board. He is called to assess the damage. He does the calculations quickly in his head and then stands very still for a moment. He tells the captain. The captain stands very still too. At this point, it is 12:05 in the morning. The ship has approximately 2 hours and 40 minutes left. There are 2,224 people on board. There are enough lifeboats for 1,178. This is the moment, not the collision. This quiet arithmetic.
I don't know.
This is where the story truly breaks open. 2 numbers, a gap between them that cannot be closed. Thomas Andrews goes back to his stateroom. A steward will find him there near the end, standing alone, staring at a painting on the wall. His life jacket is on the table. He is not wearing it. No one will survive who knew the ship as well as he did, and he knew exactly what was coming. What does a man think about in those final hours when he has built the thing that is killing him? We will never know. On the boat deck, the officers begin loading the lifeboats. They shout orders in the dark. Passengers emerge in dressing gowns, in furs, in whatever they had grabbed in the confusion. The night air is shockingly cold. The ship is absolutely still in the water, which makes it hard to believe anything is wrong. The first lifeboat is lowered at 12:45 a.m. It holds 65 people. 28 are in it. People are not afraid enough yet. They do not understand. They would rather stay on the warm ship than sit in a small boat in the middle of the ocean in the dark. By the time they understand, it will be too late to find space. The orchestra begins to play. The sinking, human dimension. The musicians are on the boat deck. 8 men. They play because someone asked them to. Because music is the only thing left that can hold people together without force. They play waltzes at first, then hymns. Isidor Strauss is 67 years old. He co-owns Macy's. He and his wife Ida have been married for 41 years. A space is found for Ida in a lifeboat. She steps toward it.
Thank you, but my husband?
Then she steps back.
That's it, one step at a
Where
time.
you go, I go,
Please, Ida,
she
you
says.
must get in the boat.
They are seen later, sitting together on deck chairs, holding hands. Ida Strauss had told a friend before the voyage, "I have lived so long with him, it would be impossible to leave without him." They are not in the recovered bodies. The ocean took them together. At 2:17 a.m., the forward funnel collapses. The lights, which have burned this entire time, an act of extraordinary engineering that has kept people calm, go dark. Not gradually, all at once. For a moment, there is only the sound of the sea, then the sounds of 1,500 people in the water. The lifeboats, already launched, sit 200 yards away. They are mostly not full. The people in them can hear the cries, they can see nothing in the dark. Only the stars, the same extraordinary stars as before. But they can hear everything. Most of the boats do not go back. The reasons are many and small and human and damning. Fear of being swamped, fear of the panic, fear of what they would find if they turned around. One officer later describes the sound as one long continuous wailing chant. It lasts for 20 minutes. Then it fades. Then it is quiet. At 2:20 a.m., the Titanic is gone. The sea closes over the place where it was as if nothing had ever been there at all. Aftermath. The world that remained. The Carpathia arrives at 4:10 a.m. She has been steaming full speed for 3.5 hours through ice fields to reach the coordinates. Her captain, Arthur Rostron, has had his crew prepare everything: blankets, hot soup, doctors, lists of names. He has been awake all night. He is 36 years old. He will be knighted for what he does before the sun rises. 710 survivors are pulled aboard. They are mostly women, mostly from first class. Of the 709 men on board the Titanic, 154 survive. Of the 179 women in third class, 76 die. The numbers are not random. The numbers are a portrait of the world as it was in 1912. Who was told first? Who was closest to the deck? Who had a steward who led them up through corridors they had never seen? Who had locked gates between them and the lifeboats? Locked not out of malice, but out of something just as devastating: indifference. When the Carpathia arrives in New York, 4 days Lorsor, Noel. At 2:20 in the morning, the ship was gone. More than 1,500 lives vanished into the freezing Atlantic. The Titanic rests 2.5 miles below the North Atlantic. Steel has rusted, wood has vanished. But the questions that night asked about humanity are still floating on the surface.